In the vast wilderness of the Serengeti Game Reserve in Tanzania, an old man named Makand was a revered figure. A former ranger, he had dedicated over 50 years to the reserve. From his youth into his old age, tirelessly protecting wild animals from illegal hunting. Known as a living legend, his perseverance and kindness earned him deep respect among the Serengeti's people. Even after retirement, Makand volunteered daily, driving his weathered car on patrols. Young staff sought his guidance, drawn to his profound knowledge of the land and its creatures. Elephants, lions, giraffes, zebras, and rhinos were all cherished by him, with special attention given to the elderly animals resting in the reserve's safe area. Despite his declining health, Makand's spirit remained unbroken by the weight of age. Recently, the Serengeti's weather had grown harsher, with temperatures forecast to soar to 45 degrees Celsius. One morning, the sun blazed fiercely across the reserve, driving animals to seek shade under sprawling trees. Undeterred, Makand set out to check on an injured rhino he had tended to the previous day. He navigated his car along the rough, dry grassland roads toward the bushy area where the rhino was recovering. Sweltering heat seeped into the cabin, leaving him drenched in sweat. Upon arrival, he stopped and stepped out, observing the rhino from a distance. The creature appeared weak, its long wounds still unhealed. With gentle steps, Makand approached, his eyes filled with worry and love for the vulnerable beast. Suddenly, a sharp pain gripped his chest, spreading rapidly and leaving him dizzy. He collapsed to his knees in the grass, sweat pouring down his pale face. Nearby, his colleagues, Elijah and Musa, who were tending to zebras, heard a faint call. They rushed to find Makand crumpled on the ground. Elijah checked his pulse, noting its erratic rhythm, while Musa frantically searched for heart medication in Makand's pockets, only to find none, perhaps forgotten in his haste. The situation was dire. Elijah radioed the reserve center for an ambulance, and all nearby work halted as staff rallied to help. A special vehicle sped to the scene, rushing Makand to the reserve's medical room. On the way, Elijah called his name, urging him to hold on, but Makand's eyes fluttered shut, his breathing faltering. In the medical room, doctors performed emergency treatment, administering artificial respiration and using a defibrillator. Tension filled the small space. After more than 15 minutes, a doctor solemnly announced that Makand's heart had stopped long before. A haunting silence fell, and shock gripped those present. The confirmation of his passing marked the end of a glorious life. Staff members flooded in, their faces etched with disbelief, knowing the reserve had lost its spiritual pillar. The heartbreaking news reached Makand's family, leaving them in tears. Per his wishes, his funeral would be held within the reserve, and preparations began for a ceremony rooted in indigenous rituals. The next morning, as the sun peeked over the horizon, the community gathered in the sanctuary's central courtyard. A simple wooden bed held Makand's body, his face serene, as if in sleep. Each person paid their respects, their eyes brimming with longing. Elijah stood by, his trembling hand touching Makand's, lost in memories. Musa lit an incense stick, whispering prayers. Suddenly, a roar echoed from the sanctuary's gate. A large male lion approached, its presence majestic yet mysterious, sending the crowd into a panic. People scrambled for cover, but the lion, growling softly, showed no aggression. It walked through the crowd, circled the wooden bed, and paused at its foot, bowing its head as if in reverence. The surreal scene left everyone trembling. Elijah noticed a large scar on the lion's side and recalled a rescue 15 years prior. He and Makand had saved this lion, then part of a pride trapped by hunters. They had bravely freed it, bandaged its wounds, and nursed it back to health in the safe area before its return to the wild. Perhaps it had watched over Makand ever since, and now, sensing his loss, it had come to bid farewell. The lion's loyalty and gratitude moved all who witnessed it. Elijah cautiously approached, and the lion, calm and unthreatening, lowered its head. Others joined, sharing the sacred moment as fear gave way to shared grief. After the courtyard ceremony, Makan's body was carried to a grassy field he loved, shaded by a large tree. The lion followed, its mournful roars echoing as if voicing its pain. At the chosen spot, a quiet grave was dug, and Makan was gently laid to rest. The sanctuary held its breath during the final farewell. Elijah and Musa placed a stone engraved with his name at the grave's head, honoring his 50 years of service. The local community held a prayer ceremony, wishing his soul eternal peace. The lion stood by the grave, head bowed, its gaze unwavering. Then, with a deafening roar that shook the plains, it expressed its sorrow. As the group departed, the lion remained, a solitary sentinel under the reddening sky as the sun set. The next day, the reserve paused its activities to honor Makan. People visited his grave, leaving wildflowers and burning incense, praying for his rest. Occasionally, the lion returned, quietly contemplating the site, repaying the man who gave it life. Elijah and Musa frequently visited, speaking to Makan's spirit, vowing to continue his dream of preserving the wild. The story of Makan, the legendary ranger, and the lion's eternal devotion became a cherished part of the Serengeti's legacy. His life, marked by love for nature and an unbreakable bond with a creature he once saved, endures in the reserve's heart. This tale, a testament to dedication and the profound connections possible between humans and the wild, inspires all who hear it to honor Makan's memory and the timeless love of the lion who mourned him.